Inshallah, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. Today, inshallah, we'll start with the new subject of the lam of the definitive article. So let me share my screen. But before that, I just wanted to touch something that was shared by some of the brothers last week as a question. There was separate clarification one-to-one with the brother. But I wanted, for the benefit of everyone, to take you through the question and its answer as well. So the question was mainly on the subject of idgham al-kabir, and there is a specific reason why we are not touching it in this course, because it's not part of the qira'ah of Imam Hafs and Asim. And then we said in the qira'ah of Imam Hafs and Asim there is no idgham al-kabir. There is no type of that, big idgham. And then the brother came to me with an article which talks about specific words in the qira'ah of Imam Hafs and Asim which are actually idgham kabir, and he is actually correct. They are idgham kabir, and I was aware of that. However, that is specifically why we're saying there is no idgham kabir. So let me tell you what's the confusion. The confusion is when you have two letters of idgham. The first one is got sukoon, like qad, and then you have the second one which is got haraka, like tabayyana. Then in this case we make idgham, and we call this idgham al-saghir. Why it's saghir? Why it's small? Because the first letter has sukoon, and the way we pronounce that is qad tabayyana, right? However, what happens when you have the first letter has a haraka on it? So in the case of, for example, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم مستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. So in some of the qira'at they make the idgham al-kabir between مستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم الصراط المستقيم صراطه. sorry الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Did it just disappear? I just said it.
الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين.
That's the one. جزاك الله خير. الرحمن الرحيم مالك. Right, so if you say الرحمن الرحيم مالكي, that's the qira'ah of Imam Hafs. If you connect the two in other qira'at, they say الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. So they do idgham between the two memes. And of course, similar example doesn't exist in the qira'ah of Imam Hafs. However, there are words which are written after the idgham al-kabir in the qira'ah of Imam Hafs. So the way you read it is with the idgham. They don't come in the isolated form. So that's why we're saying there is none that you need to worry about. However, it's embedded within the word. Like for example, if you look at the word ma makkanni, right? So the noon of ma makkanni is actually originally two noons, which is ma makkanani. So the first noon has a fatha, the second noon has a kasra. They two got merged into one noon. However, if you look at your mushaf, you will see that word is written as one noon with shadda. So it's written in the final version, which is after the idgham. And because of that, we're saying if you don't go back to the root of the word, then you don't have to worry about what type of idgham is here, because it's written in the final version. So that's why, to simplify it for everyone, we said, and that's the majority opinion, like all of the books, everyone you read your books, they will put something as a disclaimer in the book on the side, to say that, however, some words, if you go to their roots, they are actually they have idgham kabir, but because they are not written in a way that is separated, then you don't have to worry about it. So I thought just to make that disclaimer, just in case someone was asking any questions in the background. Barakallah fikum. Now we start with the lam of definite article. In Arabic we call this lam al-ta'rif. So normally the Arabs put harful lam before a name or al-ism, before al-ism, to give it the definitive article nature. Similar to when you put the in English language before anything, then you're saying book means just any book, the book means that book. So in Arabic language we add al al-ta'rif, which is actually lam only. But because people cannot start with the lam sakina as from the beginning of the word, they added before it hamza, which we call it hamzatul wasl, which has the symbol of the harfu as-sad on top of it. It's like an alif which has a sad on it. That sad is indicative that you only pronounce it if you start from the word, but if you're continuing from a word before, then you don't pronounce it. It becomes obsolete. So if you say ash, ash-shams, or let's say al-qamar, easier, al-qamar, so you have the lam of definitive lam, and before there is the a, which is hamzatul wasl, and then after that you have qamar. Qamar means moon. Could be any moon. Al-qamar means the moon. If you say min al-qamar, the hamza is gone because you made a connection with the letter before it. Min al-qamar. So you don't say min al-qamar. You say min al-qamar. So that's why we have the hamzatul wasl in the beginning. And that lam is purely something which is unique for the nouns. It doesn't come before verbs. It doesn't come before anything else. So you will see in some areas there is maybe similar form, like a sentence which starts with L, but that L is not necessarily al-ta'rif, because that al-ta'rif or the definitive article L only comes with the nouns. So we broke down the Arabic letters into two groups, two identical groups of 14 letters. The first group we call them al-qamariya, or the moon letters, and the second group we call them ash-shamsiyya, which is the sun letters. They chose these two letters because they are the two words to represent the groups of letters name, because they are kind of opposites, so al-qamar and al-shams, day and night kind of thing. And in one of them, al-qamar, the harf al-qaf comes after the lam, and you make, in this case, you make idhar, you make it clear. So you don't say al-qamar, you say al-qamar. And that's similar to all of the other letters which you see in here. They summarize in a sentence which is ibghi hajjaka wa khaf aqimahu. It was put by the al-Jamzuri, one of the scholars of the 12th century. He has a poem, it's called Tuhfatul Atfal. I think some of you guys have already studied that in a separate course with us. So in his poem, he put that sentence to summarize these letters. In these letters, you have to pay extra attention of the harful jim, because many people, dialects, they tend to do ikhfa for the jim, or idgham, sorry, for the jim. So instead of saying al-jibal, they say al-jibal. They say al-jibal, which is wrong. It has to be al-jibal. The jim has idhar because it's one of the qamari letters, one of the moon letters. The other group is the Shams group. These ones are the other 14. The other 14 letters. Again, for those of you who studied, Tuhfatul Atfal, he put them in a line, and he took each letter of the words that's in the line, which is طب ثم صل رحما تفز ضف ذا نعم دع سوء ظن زر شريفا للكرم. These words, if you take the first letter of each one of these words, it becomes the moon letters. In all of these, what we do is we do idgham. We do idgham. So now we know that the rules for it is idhar and idgham. Idhar and idgham. Now we need to talk about the idgham, because we just finished the idgham subject on the other letters. We need to understand what is the type of idgham here. And it's very simple. Apart from harful lam, because if the lam is meeting itself, like in word layl, and then you put al before it, so it becomes al-layl, right? So al-layl, that is what idghamul mutamathilain, idghamul mutajanisain. I always struggle with the Arabic. It's called idghamul mutajanisain, mutamathilain, because mutamathilain means the same. Mutajanisain means they are close, the same articulation point. So let's keep it this way, right? متماثلين means the same letter. So with the lam is متماثلين. With the other letters, it is متقاربين, right? It is متقاربين. Unless you go for the school of thought where it says the ra and the lam and possibly the noon is from the same articulation point, then in that case, you consider that as متجانسان. You consider that as متجانسان. However, it is متقاربان. So they are coming close by, but they are not from the same articulation point. So I think that summarizes the whole thing. There's nothing difficult here. I think the only thing which you look in the book, maybe, before going for the next one, is that, before the rules of the meme, is the signs of the Mus'haf, of how to see, how to observe the lam al-Qamariyya and how to observe the lam al-Shamsiyya. The sign is very simple. On the Qamariyya one, you have the tip of the harf al-kha without the dot, which is illustrative of the word khafif, which means you make sukun jazm on it, which means you pronounce it, you make idhar. The other lam shamsiyya, because of the idgham, it follows the full idgham, complete idgham. So you see no sign on the lam, and then you see shadda on the other letter. I see a raised hand. As that Dr. Tia.
You talked about the two different groups of letters, but
Yes.
how about lam? Is it considered shamsiyya or qamariyya?
No, lam we just said it's shamsiyya. Yeah. But the type of idgham is not متقاربين.
متماثلين.
It is متماثلين, yes. Yeah. But it's idgham. You do full idgham. Al-layl. That's why we consider it shamsiyya.
جزاك الله.
وإياكم أخي الحبيب. So that's the sign in the Mus'haf. The sign in the Mus'haf makes it very simple, eh? Now there are lots of topics in the lam sakina. We could talk about this for a long time, but we really keep it simple on this one. Don't want you guys to be distracted, because there are other types of lam, like we call it a lam zaida, for example, or the unnecessary lam in the word alladhi, or in the word allati. So that is not al-ta'rif. Then you also have, for example, lam al-fi'l. So lam al-fi'l is the lam which comes in a fi'l. Like, for example, if you say anzalna, that lam is also have sukoon on it, but it's not lam al-ta'rif. It's not the lam of the definitive article. It's in the middle of a verb. So you make that lam clear. You don't say anzalna. You don't make anzalna. You don't mix the lam with the noon. Same thing with qultum. However, in some cases, if you say qur rabbi in the end of the word and you're mixing it with the ra on the other one, then in this case you say qur rabbi. You're making idgham, following the rules from the previous lessons. There are also original lams. They are part of the word. So these ones also you have to make them clear, even though they have sukoon. So if you say, for example, the word alwanukum or alwan means colors. The whole word this is not al-ta'rif. This is not alwanukum. It's part of the origin of the word. Same thing with the word khalqukum, sultana, so on and so forth. So in all of these cases we make idhar. In all of them we make idhar. Yes, brother.
You lost your voice for a while in the middle.
Is it
I'm
not?
not sure it was only for me or for others as well.
Not sure what's happening.
I was hearing clearly all the time.
Okay.
Okay, then it was for me. Sorry. Yeah, just continue. No worries.
No, thanks for speaking out, brother. Just in case. Barakallah fiik. So that's the subject of lam al-ta'rif. Any questions, brothers? Ala barakatillah, inshallah. So we start with the subject of the meme. let's see what how much of it we can do today, and possibly if we finish it we can enter to the noon as well. So now we're getting into the the subject where most of the people starting tajweed, they start from the subject. Unfortunately for them, they miss all of the subjects that we studied so far. They just immediately start from the ahkam al-mim wal nun. The rules of the mim sakina. So when mim has sukun, and we learned before with the idgham of the two letters, is that when a first letter has sukun and the second letter follows it has haraka, then we do idgham. And we separated from that conversation for some time, lam al-ta'rif and then the mim and the nun, because we said all of these letters have some nuance to them. In the other cases, it's always either idgham or no idgham. Maybe there is some bit in terms of the idgham, whether it was complete or incomplete idgham. If you remember, like in the word, for example, ahattu, basatta, these two, they are incomplete because you're entering with the ta and then you're leaving with the ta, but they are still idgham. So far we haven't studied anything on ikhfa, for example, concealment, or qalb, which is flipping or changing or converting it into a meme. And these are unique for the letters which we are studying inshallah now. So the difference between the meme and the noon, the meme has three rulings. The meme, when it has sukun, has three rulings, which is idgham, ikhfa, idhar. The noon has four. So apart from these three, you add to them the qalb, which is the flipping. So the way we do this is we go through the meme first, inshallah. The first ruling of the meme is the idgham. Idgham of the meme happens only in one letter, when the meme meets itself. Only in a case of a meme with a meme, then you do idgham. That idgham is a complete idgham, and when you do it, you get a meme with a shadda. So when you have a meme with a shadda, then you make akmal ma takun. You make ghunna akmal ma takun. You make the perfect length ghunna, the longest ghunna in the rulings of the meme and the nun. So, but before that, I just want to maybe highlight something which I'm adding to benefit, is that when you have a meme which has no haraka, which is the meme sakina, that meme has to be sakina in the both cases, whether it was you stopping on it or you continuing on it. Because there are specific cases, if you are not, like for example the word قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. The word meme, the meme itself, if you say it by itself, you say qum. You say qum. You added the kasra to it, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ, because of the two meeting of the two sakin letters. So in this case you don't follow the rulings of meme because the meme now has a kasra. So it has to be very clear that you only do this ruling, all of these rulings, is when you have the meme with a sukoon, the meme with a jazm on it. So the first one is in the book, page 128, inshallah. We're saying that if you have a noon with sukoon, noon with shadda, or a meme with shadda, so noon with stress or meme with stress, we make the ghunna, and we call this ghunna akmal ma takun, longest type of ghunna. Whether it was in the middle of the word, in the end of the word, if you're stopping on the word, anytime you see the noon or the meme with the shadda, you do that ghunna. So the reason for it is, we know that this shadda is an indicator of the merging that happened, which means originally it was two noons or two memes. Because of that, we have to do that additional timing to indicate that there was another noon or meme which was omitted. If you don't do this extra timing, then you are stealing one of the letters from the word. So for example, if you say وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ سَلَّمَ, if you stop on walakin, you have to stop walakin. like this, because now this is the shadda, which means you have to make it different from walakin. This walakin is not is only one noon. Walakin, that's two noons. And that's why some people, when they teach the length of the ghunnah, they measure it with haraka, right? They come and say, you have to do a ghunnah which is two haraka. And although it's a very common thing, I personally don't subscribe to it, because the haraka is a fatha dhamma kasra, and that's a measuring unit for the med. So when you make the med of the alif and the waw and ya, which we will study inshallah next, in that type of med we measure the lengthening of the med with the haraka. However, the noon and the meme is not a med, right? It's just a lengthening of a ghunnah, not one of the huruf al-med. So that's why it's just to discriminate between these two, so that people don't confuse. Because if you do two haraka of a ghunnah, that would not be the same as two haraka of a med. The two haraka of med is natural med, right? So if you say min al-jinnati wan-nas, that's two haraka for the med arid al-sukun on al-nas. But the time you take for an-nas is not the same time for the alif, is not the same time that you're taking for the noon. The time that you're taking for the noon is more than the time you're taking for the alif. So that's why using the haraka measurement for the noon and the meme and the al and the mudud, I don't think it's a fair thing to do. Rather, you just follow this terminology, which is you have 4 levels of ghunnah, and we will study this inshallah in a couple of maybe sessions. But when you have a meme with a shadda or a noon with a shadda, then that's the highest level of ghunnah. The examples will be حمالة الحطب في اليم ولا تخافي, instead of if you stop on في اليم like this, then you make the meme longer to indicate that there was a shadda on this meme. So that's the first one. Then after that we said we'll study we said the first type is a meme with meme, which is idgham. So that's very simple. The second type is what we call al-ikhfa, concealment. Now, remembering one thing, because all of these 3 rules are applying now on the meme, we haven't touched the noon yet. Some people use different terminology for this. So some people say idgham shafwi, ikhfa shafwi, idhar shafwi. Shafwi means lips, using the lips, right? It's not shafawi, it's shifwi. And because it's coming from the word shafa. Shafa means lips, not shifa, shafwi. So we're saying shafwi to discriminate between this one and the ikhfa of the noon. We're calling the ikhfa of the noon, we will study it later inshallah, we call it the ikhfa al-haqiqi, which is the true ikhfa. Why? Because that's the main subject of ikhfa. The main subject of ikhfa happens actually on the noon, because on the meme it's only with 1 letter. So it's a very special case, while with the noon it's with more letters. So that's why some people call it ikhfa shafwi, because it comes from the meme when it mixes with the ba. Now both the meme and the ba, the articulation point is from the mouth. Of course the noon has a completing part of the articulation point, which is coming from the nose. So that's why both the meme and the ba, they meet on the lips, right? So what happens here when we do this, we do the concealment of the meme. Now how do we conceal the meme? We have to understand first how do we make idhar, how do we make the meme apparent, so that we can understand how we conceal it. So if you take for example the word وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. So the meme now, the meme of hum and the ba are meeting, right? The meme has sukoon, so the rule applies to it. The ba is on the next letter, which has haraka. Then in this case there is some interaction between these 2 letters, because I'm coming to the same articulation point, hum بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. If I make idhar, it has to be وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. So what I'm doing here, I'm making the meme fully clear before I move to the articulation point of the ba. If I don't cut the voice, I can still do it with idhar, but it has to be similar to a qalqala. So it has to be وَمَا هُمَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا هُمَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. So that is the idhar of the meme if it meets the ba. Of course, that's very odd. Nobody does it this way. So that's why what we do is we do what we do with the other types of ikhfa, which is coming on one articulation point, which is the lips. So we say وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Now what happened here is I can still hear the meme. However, that is not the idhar meme. The idhar meme is have to be like this. You have to finish the whole thing, leave from the articulation point. While in this case I entered with the meme and then I left with the ba from the other side. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. So in this case I'm not doing idhar. I'm concealing the meme and I'm mixing it with the ba after that. Before taking questions, because I suspect that a couple of you guys will ask questions on this one, I just want to recap on something that we studied last week. So last week when we started with the idgham in general, we said that normally any language, Arabic language is nothing unique to that. They tend to do quick optimized way of saying things to save energy, to save vocal energy, to pronounce letters. So that's why we started doing the idgham, and that's not different here. Ikhfa, qalb, all of these things are natural things that happen because you want to simplify something which is very difficult to pronounce. And the way we measure that last time, what we said is we just pronounce the word quick without making the extra lengthening of the ghunnah and see how it sounds. So if I say, for example, and I want you all to practice with yourself, to say وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ quickly with yourself, right? Say it as normal. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Right? Keep doing it 3-4 times. Now make the ghunnah longer. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Now what you're noticing here is the natural thing in the Arabic language is to just say it as one articulation point. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Now what some people did, and that will be a question that many of you will ask, some people read this with an open lip, slightly open lip. They call it furja. Furja means opening, So they say وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. So they are not touching the articulation point of the meme. They are just keeping a little bit of opening. And when you ask why is that, they say because of the ikhfa, because I have to conceal the meme, and the meme comes from the lips, so I have to move away from the articulation point of the meme. And of course, so we're following the book of Dr. Ayman. If you follow logic, just common sense, the way we spoke the two words quickly, you don't see anyone saying it quickly with وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Nobody say it quickly in a natural Arabic way. Nobody says it with an opening in the mouth. So that opening in the mouth is definitely something that is not original. It's been added, and it's been added recently. It's not something that has been there in the books in history. It's been just in the last maybe less than 100 years, where some of the scholars they were trying to differentiate things, and mainly for recordings purposes, there was no contrast and so on. So they tried to add this additional feature in the way you pronounce the ikhfa of the meme. But in reality, it's as simple as just وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ or تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ. Now I answer questions, inshallah, if anyone has any. It's fine, brothers. If you disagree with this opinion, I want to hear from you. We want to be all on the same page, inshallah.
Is this opinion common in Hafs? Because I think the way that I learned it back in the days was a little bit different.
Mm. With the, you mean with the keeping the opening?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is common in, like if you listen to lectures of Dr. Ayman, he talks about the history of it. It started from Egypt. There was one of the, one of the best scholars actually. He was a, in a leadership position, and he was overseeing all of the recordings of the famous Qurra. So even if you go and listen to Al-Husari and Minshawi and Abdul Basit, you will hear that they are reading actually this way, and they were asked by him to do it this way, and he's their teacher, so they followed his teachings, yani. And it doesn't make huge difference anyways, but some people argue on it. But it's always better to go to the origins and make sure that it's compliant with the Arabic language. It's not something that's alien to it. Nobody, when he speaks language, the Arabic language, he keeps a opening when he pronounces the meme. Nobody does that. It's not natural.
Well, if I can argue that a little bit, I can say that when we speak proper Arabic,
Oh,
like, or when I listen to Al Jazeera, for example, I don't see people making idgham or ikhfa when they mention the letter noon. So I
yes.
think the Quran rules are different. Not in this one specifically, but I mean
Yeah,
generally.
yeah. And that's a good point, but they are mispronouncing these other things. What we're saying is, I'm not using the Al Jazeera as the benchmark, because they have kind of butchered the articulation points in a way. Um, no, but I'm talking like, you know, because the Arabic language is preserved without Al Jazeera, Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So, inshallah khair. So that's the summary of it. You will see it coming again on the qalb, because when we do the qalb of the noon sakina, it will become a meme, and then you have a ba after it. So the same rule applies, and the same rule applies there as well. Yeah. So, but again, some of the schools of thought, what they did, they said, no, we keep the opening only on this one, and then the one which is rooted from a qalb of a ba of a noon, then we do it normally. So they are kind of also like, you know, not matching the two together. Um, but it has to be really. It's we said, out of the whole uh, subject of tajweed, everything is Arabic language normal grammar, apart from four topics, just four topics. First one is the lengthening of the mudud, making the mad long. The second one is lengthening of the ghunna, making the ghunna long. The third one is lengthening of the third one is the sakatat, when you stop on specific words like man, raq, um, or something like that. And we have a couple of locations in the qira'ah or hafs. And the fourth case, which is reading the Quran with beautification of the voice, with melody. Apart from these four, everything else is Arabic language. So the ghunna itself, the ikhfa, the qalb, the idhar, these are Arabic language, you know. But making that ghunna specifically longer is the unique thing, and that's only because what we do in the Quran, we don't want to omit any letter. We don't want to omit any letter. So if there is ikhfa, that means we're concealing part of the letter. Then what we do, we make the ghunna to indicate that there was something here which we omitted, you know. So we don't say it without it, because over time it might get diluted and people forget that there was a letter here. So that's why we do these longer ghunnas, to indicate that there was something in this location. Now the third one is al-idhar, right? So that's the idgham shafwi, and we said this is the ikhfa shafwi, and then we do the idhar shafwi. The idhar shafwi is when you have the all of the other letters. So anything but the meme and the ba coming after a meme with sukoon, in all of these letters we make the idhar, means make it clear. And there are specifically two letters, which is the fa and the waw, that we need to pay extra attention to them, because of the articulation points are becoming very close, right? So if you say hum fiha, some people say hum fiha because they are becoming close. Or for example say hum wa azwajuhum, hum wa azwajuhum. You see how I finished the meme idhar, then I went to the waw. Some people say hum wa azwajuhum, hum wa azwajuhum. That's how they do. So that's also not allowed because the fa is very close in terms of the articulation point, and with the waw it's actually they are متماثلين متجانسين because they're coming from the same very close by articulation point. So because of that they get confused, the meme with the waw and the meme with the fa, which is a common mistake which is not supposed to happen. The indicators on the mushaf, now let's go back one page. The idgham shafwi, when you have meme with a meme, the indicator is the first meme has no haraka, the second meme has shadda on it. أطعمهم min. The shadda here is not original shadda because the word min doesn't have shadda on it. This shadda was only added to indicate that this meme got merged with this one and they became one, which means you make this longer. When you come and talk about the ikhfa shafwi, the indicator is slightly different. The meme has no haraka, as in bizahirin. Bizahirin. This meme has no haraka. The ba has no shadda on it. So that is not idgham, because in the idgham you have shadda. It's like an idgham naqas in a way. In the indicator, it's like an idgham naqas. You know, when we studied that last time. And the idhar shafawi is similar to all types of idhar before. In all of the types of things that we studied, it will have a tip of harful kha without a dot, which stands for the word khafif, which means sukun, which means light. Then you put that on top of the meme to indicate that you make idhar for it, you conceal it. When you see the sukun on a letter in the Uthmanic script, that means you pronounce it, you make it clear. So we go to page number 134 on the book. This one talks about some the tips that we just studied now, and after the tips of after the symbols in the Quran, the second part of the page talks about common mistakes that happens, prominent mistakes which occurs when pronouncing the meme sakina. The first one is prolonging the duration of the ghunna more than needed when making idhar, as in the word an'amta. Now this is a meme with sukun and we're making idhar, so the rule that applies here is the duration of the sakin letter. We studied that in the durations of the letters before, if you remember, and we said the meme is one of the group of letters which is the in-between letters. Lin Umar. So it's one of the Lin Umar letters, which means we make the timing a little bit more than the Shadid letters. But you don't make it too long. So you don't say An'amta alayh. Don't do this. You say An'amta alayhim. That's it. The second one is shortening the duration of the ghunna when it's merged or concealed by accident. So some people say lakum ma, or they say hum bis-sahira, like this. Has to be in both cases. Has to be long enough to highlight that there was a meme that was either merged or concealed. Lakum ma hum bis-sahira. The third one is leaving the gap between the lips and the concealing, which is an innovation. As in the word ترميهم بحجارة, which is mispronounced as ترميهم بحجارة. And the fourth one is concealing it with the waw and the fa, which we just discussed now. عليهم ولا هم فيها, or هم فيها. Some people do this also. They keep the opening with the fa. In both of these three cases, that is a wrong pronunciation. So that takes me to the end of the meme rules, which is the easy one. But before we go for the noon, we have still like 9 minutes, so maybe we'll do a quick introduction on it. Any questions from anyone? Good. Okay. Now, noon sakina. So that is hopefully the last letter of in this category of the merging of the letters. The noon is one of the biggest topics, and what you will see here is that we'll do it. We'll keep the ikhfa in this case to the last topic compared to the meme. Why? Because normally the qurra, they start with the special cases and they keep the common case in the end. So the common case for the noon is ikhfa with the letters. Majority of the letters fall into the category of the ikhfa, of the concealment. So that's why we're keeping that as the default case for the noon is noon sakina is ikhfa. The second one is, you will see here that there is another thing which was added to the noon, which is the tanween. The tanween is when you have the double dhamma or double fatha or double kasra. In the Arabic language, that is normally pronounced with a un, in, or an. In all of these three cases, you have a noon sakina in the end. So that's why it was attached to the rules of the noon sakina, because it's eventually a noon sakina, albeit with a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra before it. But it's always followed the same rules of the noon sakina. Right? Now, what you will notice here as well, I hope that I didn't. You will see that the rules of the noon sakin and tanween, from the way of interacting with the letters, follow very similar methodology that we have with the idgham of the letters, which is purely related to the articulation points of the letters. So you will see that in these letters, the hamza, the ha, the ayn, the ha, the ghain, and the kha, which is the halq letters, the ones that come from the throat, you do idhar because these are coming from a very far apart articulation point, from the noon to these 6 letters. So that's why there is no energy between these. While in the case of ya, waw, mim, noon, la, ra, and the ba, in all of these they are coming from a very close articulation point. And in the other ones, they are somewhere in between. Right? So all of these other letters are somewhere in between. So what we need to understand is the same rules apply. This noon, the sakina noon, has to be, first of all, no haraka on it. So it has to be sakina. And this has to be in both cases, whether you stopping on the word or you continuing on the word. If you, for example, read the word liman amana, or liman qala, you see in all of these cases the noon of liman has a sukoon on it. But in some cases, like if you say liman irtada, the noon will take a kasra on it, because now you have sakin of noon, and then the word irtada has a sukoon, starts with e. Irtada, liman irtada, hamzat wasl. Because of these two meeting, you cannot pronounce them not naturally, so you have to add kasra on the noon. So in this case, the rules will change between because it's no longer a noon sakina. So this will be a different, just normal pronunciation. There is also some other types of noon, which we call it noon al-tawkid, which is the emphasis noon. These noons, tanweens, are very specific. Like if you say, for example, the word لَيَكُونَنْ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ, لَيَكُونَنْ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ, or لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ, right? So these two, again, they are not necessarily the right type of tanween that you are following, but we're just adding those because they are specific type of tawkid. So apart from that, inshallah, what we will gonna do is we're gonna focus next week on the idhar, the idgham, the qalb, and hopefully we attack the ikhfa. If we were successful, we can finish it. If we finish the ikhfa, after that we just have common mistakes, and then the lengthening of the ghunnas, the timing of the ghunnas, and then we start with the subject of mudud. So if we do well next week, inshallah, we finish that, we get to the mudud, which gets me to the next point of the mid-year exam. So we said we're gonna do the mid-year exam in December, and we said it's either the next week, which I think we haven't finished the noon sakin time, so maybe we'll do it the week after. So let's say the 14th, inshallah, 14th of December. It will give you also enough time to recap. The style of the quiz will be this time similar to the exam, similar to the quiz, so it will be online like this. We'll all sit together, do it together. We open the questions to everyone at the same time, and the questions will be different types. So you have MCQ questions, but you might also have some explanation or definitions as well. Yeah, we'll keep enough amount of questions so that we be fair with everyone. I highly encourage all of you guys to go through the recordings, read the book, and the most important part is, if you have any questions, just keep asking them. If you missed any session, just watch the video, reach out. Don't keep anything for the last minute, please. How many questions? Wallah, brother, I am not 100% sure. Yani, should be enough for the session of 1 hour, maybe less than that.
Is it open book?
Of course not. No, it's not. It's not open books, brother. But inshallah, yani, if you talk about the MCQ questions, you don't need open book for that. It's some of them would be. We normally break down into categories. Some which is like easy, some which is middle, some might be a little bit difficult, and some tricky. Yeah, so there will be always tricky questions to discriminate between people who attended all of the sessions, asked the right questions, and people who are taking it average. I wouldn't say easy.
So how would you, I mean, if you get the quiz the way you have on the Zoom, how will you see the points? Who gets how many points?
Who's talking? Sorry.
It's Muhammad.
Brother Muhammad, wait, you will help me with that.
Okay, inshallah. Oh, good, inshallah.
Inshallah. In that case, I will have to do it myself, which I need someone to allow me. No, sorry, brother Ari, it's not tricky. It's not tricky from that angle. It's a question that could be could give different meanings. So there's a little bit of wording, something in there. Okay, Jazakumullah khair, brothers. I think we'll stop it here so that you can run for the salah, and then we'll see you next week with the rules of noon, sakin, and tanween. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.